So today, I'm going to be teaching myself how to drive manual. This is my first manual car. I've never driven a manual before, and we're going to have some fun. As you guys can see, I have a GTI, plaid seats, 6-speed manual transmission, 3 pedals, 2 doors, 4 seats, no AC, just kidding. So when I get in the car, when I first got into the car, I had an automatic Volkswagen before, so I'm so used to putting my foot on the brake to start the car. Made that mistake once, not gonna make it again. Foot on the clutch, ignition, fire it up, make sure it's in neutral. Basically got that down pat. Now I don't have anybody in the car teaching me. When I bought this car, didn't have anybody there to teach me as well. I had the car delivered to my house. And like any normal person, once I got in the car, even like a few weeks before I got in the car and even bought it, I basically did what every normal person does when they don't know how to do something. You Google it, or you go on YouTube. Now for me, I Googled it, went on YouTube, found a bunch of European guys that knew how to drive manual for whatever reason. Apparently, like in Europe, this is like a super like common thing that everybody knows how to drive. So I learned from some Europeans on YouTube. Their advice was helpful in some ways, not helpful in other ways. Apparently there's 2 ways to drive manual. The first way is to clutch in, put it in first gear, and basically slowly take your foot off the clutch until it bites. And then once it bites, you basically give it some gas and you kind of balance it. You do like a balancing act. You off clutch on gas like that. The other way to drive it is apparently you put your foot on the clutch, first gear, just like normal, but you set the revs. So you like rev it up to like 1,000, or you like rev it a little bit like this, and then you let off the clutch and it basically like catches itself. Now I tried that way first because all the Europeans were doing it. Stalled like bad, like you could hear the freaking clinking of the gears. So I tried to do it apparently the American way, from what I've noticed. I don't know, I can't explain it, but you know, clutch in, first gear, let it off. As soon as the car revs itself, that's basically when you need to release the clutch, give it gas at the same time. Basically a balancing act, and that's worked for me. But like I said, I had the car delivered, so as soon as I got the car, I got in, I watched a few more YouTube videos. I was like, I got this. I stalled 6 times, guys. 6 times. I have 6 gears. I stalled 6 times. But I'm kidding. I had it in first, and I literally stalled it 6 times. I couldn't get the car to go. On the 7th attempt, I eventually got the car to go. It was a smooth takeoff, but it was a fast takeoff. Didn't burn rubber, but I did get moving fairly quickly, and I was like, okay, this is harder than I thought. I was literally about to call them back. I was like, yo, take this car. I don't want it. But I decided to stick with it, and now it's paying off. I mean, it's gotten easier. I've only had the car for a month and a half. So all the driving I'm going to be doing is going to be basically a month and a half worth of experience. So let me know how I do in the comments down below. If you guys have any questions, of course, leave them down below as well. I do answer everybody. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers, so do me a favor and subscribe, like for the algorithm, and if you can, share with a friend. All right, so let's get the show on the road. Literally self-taught here, guys, so if I do make mistakes, please correct me in the nicest way possible down below. I would really appreciate that. But basically I'm self-taught, and all this stuff that I'm doing is literally like what I've learned from experience, and it's not been fun. I've stalled a ton. Probably like the first week I stalled it probably like every red light. Especially if I was first, the nerves got the better of me. I've also noticed as well, if I try to feel the car, I shift better instead of looking at the tack. But anyways, let's get the show on the road. So slowly let off, then transition, clutch the gas. I don't like speed bumps, so I do clutch in and slow down. Especially if I'm going to be lowering the car, I need to build that habit now. Still in first, letting off the clutch, giving it gas. All the way off the clutch, stop sign, clutch in, brake. Yeah, I mean, clutch, off clutch on gas. A little bumpy of a start, but that's okay, happens. Full stop here for the stop sign. Off the clutch again, wait till it bites, give it gas, and we're off. Clutch in, first to second, back on the gas. One thing though that I've been trying to learn is downshifting. So I kind of like know like 4th gear, 2000 RPMs is where I need to be when I'm going 40. 30 miles an hour, it's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of also at 2K in 3rd gear. 20 miles an hour is kind of like 2K in 2nd gear, stuff like that. Those are little things I've been picking up on, trying to teach myself. Stops, I don't really like stops because I'm a slow starter, because I like go really slow until the car bites, revs itself, then I rev it, then I let off the clutch. Smooth transition. What's weird about this car is when the AC's off, going from 1st to 2nd, if I shifted 3000, I have to wait like quite a while. I have to wait basically like 900 RPMs, which is a long time, like in comparison to an automatic, before I like let off the clutch and go into the next gear, because it literally like clunks. Like I don't get it. If you guys drive manual, you know what I mean by clunk. But if you guys are new to driving manual, or you're thinking about buying a manual car, I would say full send it. You only live once, and you know, I think it's fun. It's very engaging, and I really love it. It gets easier every day. But one thing I do have to say is don't be afraid to stall. I know everybody says, oh, stalling's bad, avoid stalling, don't embarrass yourself. But honestly, guys, like, stalling is a part of the learning process. Like, you gotta learn, like, why you're stalling, you gotta learn, like, what causes that, like, learn what you're doing to cause the car to stall, learn all that type of stuff, because it makes you better. And honestly, like, I'm the type of person to learn from my mistakes, so like when I make a mistake, I'm conscious of it now, so I don't do it. But like a big thing is like, don't be afraid to stall. That was my biggest thing. Like that's why I stalled so much, because I was afraid to stall. Literally, let me say that again. I stalled so much because I was afraid to stall. It put like extra pressure on me. It made me uncomfortable, and you know, being uncomfortable is a good thing. It makes you better, but honestly, you're gonna cause more problems. Like, relax, take a deep breath. You got this. All the learning how to drive manual videos, everybody was literally like, they didn't stall, or they didn't talk about stalling. Those are the two biggest things, in my opinion, when I first got this car. Like, damn, like, am I just don't know? Like, do I like not know how to do this? Am I like not a fast learner? Does everybody just know how to do this? And the answer to that is no. Like everybody who drove manual, like if they're self-taught or taught by somebody else, like they've stalled. Like shit's happened, you know. It happens, you know, and it's okay. It is what it is, you know. And don't be afraid of that. Like seriously, guys. Like my biggest thing was that. And now that I'm not afraid to stall, like my driving's like improved so much. I'm just, you know, working on now like downshifting. So if I'm slowing down, or if I want to like pass somebody, learning how to downshift is extremely important, because in this car, most cars, you know, for the matter, you do have to rev match when you downshift. I know some of the newer Mustangs and some of the newer muscle cars, you don't have to rev match. It has auto rev matching. This car will rev the car up if you downshift, but the problem with that is that when you do that, like the synchros basically fucking like clap like the gear or whatever it's called, and it's a big clunk. It's not very comfortable. If you have passengers, they're gonna be like, oh my god, did you just blow the car up? Like, it's not a fun thing, to be honest, guys. Now here, my biggest problem's always been like starting and stopping. Like, it hasn't ever been like actual like shifting for the most part. So right there, literally, I wait till the car revs itself, and then I just do the balancing act. And after that, it's basically smooth sailing.